Florida, welcome to the Q, Radio 1410 WQBQ. We are the voice of Lake County, and you're listening to the Bill Bryan Automotive Group pregame coaches show. And we got Coach Oates here with us today. Hi, Coach Oates.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Glad to have you on board with us today. And you brought a young man in that I hadn't had the pleasure to meet yet.
Yes.
Is this the one and only AJ?
This is AJ Graham.
AJ, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I tell you, what an exciting game last week.
Yes, it was. It was a very exciting game. It would have been a little more exciting if we'd come out on top. But it was a good game for the fans.
We'll
yes.
get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So it was our first home game. Bring us to the setting. I mean, here we are. There's excitement in the school. You guys did a blackout all day Friday.
Yes.
And how did that turn out? How was the participation?
I think for the first time, the kids were kind of nervous, apprehensive, not sure what to do.
Right.
So I'm hoping that will get better as we go.
Absolutely. It's
anytime
about
you have change.
spirit.
Yes.
Yeah, we got spirit. Yes, we do. We got
Spirit. How about you?
Yeah.
As it went on, it got better that morning.
Yeah.
The players were a little uncomfortable, the kids, but it started to pick up.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, and I like the fact of trying to build the team.
Right.
You say all the time, we, not me.
There we go.
And I know that's your philosophy. I love the way you coach. I love the way you teach discipline. Just a little bit about last week's game, and then we'll talk a little bit about this week's game, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the young man that's here with us.
Okay.
Just a little bit. I wasn't well Thursday. Every intention to be at the ball game, and I wound up in bed sick. And so I'm listening to the thing on my smartphone, and we're at first quarter. It was 0-0. Is that about right?
Sounds right. I know it was 7-0 at halftime.
That's right. We did get the first touchdown.
Right.
I thought it was 7-7 halftime.
No, it was 7-0.
7-0. Leesburg's up.
Correct.
And then Eustis took a halftime break, and I think the coach threatened their life because they came out on the field like a whole different ball team, didn't they, AJ?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they came out like a whole new game, and it was pretty neck and neck for that next quarter.
Yes. To be quite honest, they did the same things and that they did. They did the same thing in the second half that they did in the first half. They just cut down on their mistakes. And I think Coach Hay was quoted as saying in the paper exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
They didn't change anything. They stopped the penalties. They stopped the bad snaps. And
They had like 130-something yard backage for penalties or something.
right.
And then there was the center snapping the ball over the quarterback's head.
They had a few of those, and that hurt them in the first half, and they got that corrected.
Did they get it? Because I thought toward the end of the game they still had a few of those as well. Maybe not as bad as it was in the beginning.
I don't think the second half was as bad as the first half.
Yeah. So the guys came out. They gave you their whole heart. But it seemed to me from listening to the game that Leesburg just came alive that last quarter.
Well, our backs were against the wall. We the old fight or flight. It's either fight back or get blown out.
Right.
And I was encouraged to see that our guys had fight, and they did fight. We just came up a little short. We have to cut out the mistakes, the turnovers.
Sure.
4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and a fumble.
The first interception, I'm like, oh, the poor guy. And then the second one, then the third one, and I was like, well, but is that not just the defense of the other team reading the quarterback? Is there a lot to that? Watching what he does, where he leans, where he throws.
He made some poor throws, and he'll learn from that.
Sure.
Tried to force a couple, and one time I think he stared down a receiver. So
Did he?
That's something we'll get fixed.
But the quarterback, he's an all-round player. He's not just a quarterback.
Right.
Now, he got a couple touchdowns, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he runs the ball well. He's an athlete.
He is an athlete, that's for sure.
So we'll get things worked out.
Absolutely. But AJ, were you the first one to score?
No, Wyatt was.
Wyatt was the first one to score. Okay. And then the young man you had in here last week was
Cordreus Graham.
Okay. And now, same last name, you guys, Ken?
No.
No, just same last name?
Yeah, just same last name.
Same last name. Okay. I'm just trying to put all the twos and twos together. But it was an opening at home. Was there a good crowd?
There was a good crowd. With the stadium situation, both schools sat on the same side, so it maybe gave the appearance of a larger crowd than it really was.
Sure.
But both bands were on the same side, so
Good.
it was quite festive.
Good.
I enjoyed the atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, you guys have worked hard. You tried to put together a team that'll work together well and play well and not give up. And I got to tell you, the last 15 minutes of the 15 minutes there at the end, it was like they got a touchdown, we got a touchdown. They got a touchdown, we got a touchdown. I'm just like, holy cow, what a ball game.
Right.
And so as a coach, naturally I know you felt good. But there was if we could just get maybe one interception and make a touchdown, at least tie the game or something.
Well, we got them in a situation where it was 3rd and long, and we give up a big play. They rip off like a 16, 17-yard run, and that kind of broke our backs.
Sure. Sure. Was that the one where you and the other coach weren't sure what happened on the field? There was one spot where
No, that was a situation where there was a fumble and there was a couple penalties. But my question was, okay, I understand what you called on the penalty, but we recovered the fumble, but we weren't awarded the fumble. I knew there was going to be two dead ball penalties.
That could have been a big.
That was definitely a big play.
Yeah, I mean, it could have worked in your favor to the good if you recovered the ball.
Right, and we did, but we weren't awarded it, so I guess we didn't.
There you go. I seem to hear a lot of face mask. How does that go? I mean, the guys ought to know that the refs can see it. And we had Lakefront TV there doing some filming, and by the way, that's going to air tomorrow night. Last week's football game, folks. If you've missed last week's football game, it's going to air tomorrow night. So we want to make sure that everybody, and I'll give you all the channels for that in just a minute. But that was really huge. But so the face masks, how does that happen?
That's called laziness. Instead of guys running through the player to make the tackle, they're reaching. And a lot of times face masks aren't intentional, but if you've got your arm out there and your hand out there, that can happen.
Sure.
But if you go to make the tackle the way we teach, that doesn't happen. Sometimes guys, they get lazy, and rather than take that extra step, they just reach. So, again, it's part of the learning process.
It's a big gamble when you're playing ball and the other team has so many penalties. I mean, to the other coach, you're not the other coach, but my thoughts would be, guys, why are we getting all these penalties? Because wasn't it 100 and something yards they lost in penalties?
Lack of focus. I find that a lot of kids today, more so than when I first started coaching, they can play the game, but they don't understand the game.
Gotcha.
And I think that's some of that going on.
Well, when you have a love for the game, as your players do, and they learn what their role is in part of the team, that typically helps. Or they can lend a hand when there's someone not open.
Right.
To be that. So, AJ, tell me a little bit about what you see from the field side.
It was good. But we should have came out, and in the second half we had a little bit of turnovers and stuff that we could have worked on, and
that's all right. So turnovers was your big thing.
yes, sir.
So when you go out at the field at halftime and you're up 7-0, and you come back, you feel a little bit maybe proud.
Yes.
And excited, eager to get back on the field.
Yes, sir.
But that first snap when the other team turns it over, you're like, whoa, what happened? Where did that come from, right?
Yeah.
Coach knows where that comes from because the other coach, I'm sure, was telling his team, guys, this ain't going to work. Take me from there, Coach.
I went in at halftime kind of feeling, we had a little fool's gold. Eustis had been in a position to score more points in the first half, but they were shooting themselves in the foot.
All the way around, yep.
And going into halftime, as a coach, you notice those things. So I knew it was going to be a matter of time before they got going. I was hoping that we would get going sooner.
Take advantage of what they were messing up.
You know, they have some dynamic players.
Sure.
Have some slippery kids. And I knew going in that number 1, number 2 were two dangerous kids. And if you miss a tackle here or there, they have the capability of taking it to the house. And they did that. So, you know, you have to tip your hats to Eustace.
Sure.
And
Sure.
we just have to do a better job of getting off to better starts. I was going back looking at stats yesterday. We've been a really good second half team. I mean, we're averaging like 21 points a game in the second half.
Correct.
We have to cut out the mistakes in the first half. You know, we could very easily right now be averaging 50 points a game.
Absolutely, because if they put as much heart and soul into the first half as they put into the last half and held on to that, you're exactly right.
Right.
Because the team's a good team.
Right.
They're good kids. They're good ball players.
Right.
They just have to get that first half down, because with all those penalties, I remember a couple of times when the center snapped the ball over the quarterback's head. A couple of times, the guys on the radio were like, wow, and they didn't do anything to change it in the first half. And it just kept happening and happening. And that was one of the key things that they were talking about on air throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I wasn't able to see the game, but just in visual, from listening to the radio. And I think that's a cool thing. This year we're excited to be able to put your games on air and to work towards, maybe the guys in the press box seen something that wasn't seen on the field, or, something of that nature. And I do want to let everybody know you contacted me yesterday. There's because we have this storm coming, they want you guys to play football, but they're not going to do it Friday night. So tomorrow night is our next football game instead of Friday night.
Correct.
We moved it up a day, and it's going to be at 7 o'clock at East Ridge.
Yes.
Now, for whatever reason, I thought that was Orlando, but that's down in the Claremont area?
That's Claremont.
Okay. Now, is that South Lake, or is there two different schools down there?
No, you have South Lake, you have East Ridge, and you have Lake Mineola.
So there's three of them down there.
Right.
Okay. All right, so we're going to be at East Ridge tomorrow night. Football game 7 o'clock. And what we're going to do is run the coaches show from today, tomorrow night, and then right behind that will be the live football game. Right. Now, for those of you that can multitask, Lakefront TV is going to air last Thursday night's football game tomorrow night on TV. Mm-hmm. So set your recorder there, Coach, and you can watch it in your spare time.
Right.
So just so everybody knows, we are thankful to have Lakefront TV here. They are filming this, and they re-air it on Thursdays, as we do. We re-air on Thursday. They're going to be doing all of the home games. Hopefully, we're going to work towards getting all the games eventually. That's something that we're working on together, trying to pull off. But there is some great local businesses that have come together with the Q family and with Lakefront TV, and they're trying to make it work, because we want to make sure we're proud of Leesburg High School. We're proud of that football team. We're proud of all the sports. And we are excited to see where this class of ball players can go. I know we're almost up to a break, so I will tell everybody that you can catch this on Lakefront TV, on Prism HD 1021, Prism 21, Comcast 22, Spectrum 497, Roku device, and you can watch it live at lakefronttv.com. There's up in the right-hand corner is a spot that says Watch Live, and I watched some of it live, and then I watched, I went to my phone and listened to it, but the game was 35-28, Eustace, is that right?
Yes.
All right, everybody, so we need to get out there and pull for these guys, and we got a new game tomorrow night. Not Friday night, Thursday night. And it's at East Ridge down in Claremont. And you'll be able to hear it live right here on the Q. So, Coach, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.